The stars stretched endlessly outside the viewport of the Orion Vanguard. Captain Alara stood at the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the railing, her eyes scanning the unbroken black of space dotted with tiny points of light. Beyond the routine hum of the ship, there was a strange tension, a feeling that something beyond their charts waited for them. Humanity had pushed farther into the galaxy than any other civilization dared, and now they were on the edge of a system that barely existed in any database. "Sensors are picking up something," Lieutenant Ryan said, his voice calm but edged with curiosity. He tapped at the control panel, sending streams of data across the holographic screens. "Energy readings from the nearby planet. It's massive. Nothing like we've seen before." Alara frowned. "Massive how? Are we talking natural phenomena, or is this artificial?" Ryan shook his head. "It's hard to say. The readings are chaotic, fluctuating too fast for natural causes. But the pattern doesn't match anything in our records. Whatever it is, it's powerful and it's unstable." Alara's mind raced. Humanity had learned long ago that unusual signals in uncharted space often came with a price. Most civilizations avoided strange energy spikes, but humans had a habit of curiosity that bordered on recklessness. Still, she couldn't ignore the warning signs. "Prepare an analysis team," she said. "I want to know exactly what we're dealing with before we get too close." Within moments, the research lab aboard the Orion Vanguard was a flurry of activity. Scientists adjusted instruments, monitored sensors, and recorded data at an astonishing pace. Dr. Kira Lin, the ship's lead scientist, was particularly tense. She had been part of the team that first detected these anomalies from orbit, and her instincts screamed caution. "This energy, it's like the planet itself is alive," Kira said, her voice low. "It's emitting pulses that could destabilize our systems. If we get too close, it could fry the ship's core." "Then we stay at a safe distance," Alara replied firmly. "But we don't turn back. Humanity didn't reach the edges of the galaxy by being afraid." The crew nodded, inspired by her confidence. There was a reason humans were considered unpredictable by other species. They thought, adapted, and improvised. Fear was rarely a reason to stop. As the Orion Vanguard maneuvered closer, a sudden alarm broke the controlled hum of the bridge. "Captain, we're picking up incoming signals," Ryan said, his fingers flying across the controls. "It's strange. Not local. The frequency is alien, but it's repeating. A message, maybe?" Alara's brow furrowed. "Play it through the translator. Let's see what we're dealing with." The ship's audio system crackled and a series of tones and clicks echoed through the bridge. The translator began working, converting the alien sounds into something understandable, though broken and incomplete. "It's a distress signal," Kira said after a moment, her eyes wide. "It's urgent. Whatever sent it is in danger." Alara's jaw tightened. "Then we respond. Send a formal SOS acknowledgement. Humanity does not leave anyone stranded." She tapped her comms panel and sent a carefully worded message. Within minutes, it was traveling through the void, a beacon of hope meant for whoever or whatever was in trouble. The crew of the Orion Vanguard watched the transmission leave the system, their screens reflecting the tiny dots of light representing their message racing into the unknown. But somewhere far beyond the system, the signal was not received by friendly ears. It traveled across light years and reached the edge of a sector that few dared enter. The Deathworlders, a civilization feared for their strength, discipline, and merciless tactics, detected the human transmission. Fleet Commander Tharok observed the signal from the bridge of the flagship Vorax Wrath. His multiple eyes glowed with intensity as he studied the patterns. "Humans," he hissed in his guttural language, which translated loosely into the universal comm system for those nearby. "They send a signal into my territory, calling for help, curious, bold, or foolish." The Deathworlders were not known for mercy, but they were fascinated by intelligence and cunning. The fact that humans had sent an SOS was enough to pique their interest. It spoke of resourcefulness and unpredictability, qualities they respected and feared. Back on the Orion Vanguard, the crew was unaware of the distant eyes that now watched them. For them, the mission was clear: investigate, assist if possible, and ensure the safety of both the ship and themselves. The next hours were tense. The Orion Vanguard lowered its orbit over the mysterious planet, scanning the surface for signs of life, energy sources, and potential dangers. The readings fluctuated wildly, making mapping impossible. "Captain, Ryan said, leaning over his console. The energy readings, they're increasing. Whatever is causing this, it's reacting to us, or to something else. Something's approaching. Alara's heart beat faster. She knew the risks of deep space exploration. Every unknown system had the potential to destroy them in an instant. But she also knew humanity's strength, their ability to think, adapt, and act when others would hesitate. Maintain shields at full power, she commanded, and keep all stations ready for emergency maneuvers. If anything comes out of that planet, I want us prepared. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the hum of the ship's engines and the occasional alert from the monitoring stations. The crew grew weary, but none dared complain. There was pride in being the first humans to reach these edges, and no one wanted to be the one to falter. Then, without warning, the planet itself seemed to pulse with light. Waves of energy washed over the Orion Vanguard, triggering alarms across the bridge. Shields holding, just barely, Rian shouted. We're not taking damage yet, but it's close. Kira's eyes widened. It's like the planet is alive, reacting to our presence. Or maybe to our signal. We triggered it. Alara clenched her fists. Then we stay calm. Assess, adapt, survive. Humanity has faced impossible odds before. We will do it again. The tension reached its peak when the ship's long-range sensors picked up multiple unknown vessels emerging from beyond the planet's orbit. They were massive, armored, and moving with precision. The Deathworlders had arrived. Rian's face went pale. Captain, those are not local ships, they're Deathworlder-class battle cruisers. Hundreds of them. Alara's gaze hardened. Humanity had faced many dangers in the galaxy, but the Deathworlders were legendary. They were called Deathworlders, not because they sought war everywhere, but because entire systems had fallen under their fleets in the past. We didn't call them, she said quietly, more to herself than anyone else. And yet, they came. The crew scrambled. Tactical stations lit up with alerts, shields were reinforced, and battle plans were reviewed in minutes. Despite the fear, there was a spark of something deeper. Pride. Humans had reached farther than anyone thought possible, and they were not about to back down. Prepare to transmit a new message, Alara commanded. One that says, we are aware, we are ready, and we will not be underestimated. As the Orion Vanguard drifted between the glowing pulses of the planet and the looming Armada, the crew realized something important. This was not just a rescue mission anymore. This was a test of humanity itself, and humans, Captain Alara knew, were never so easily defeated. The void of space trembled with the presence of the Deathworlder Armada. Hundreds of massive, dark cruisers moved in perfect synchronization, their metal hulls glinting faintly against distant stars. The Orion Vanguard floated smaller yet defiant, like a single candle against a storm. Captain Alara stood on the bridge, her jaw tight and her eyes scanning the alien fleet through the main viewport. They're surrounding us, Lieutenant Ryan said, his fingers dancing across the tactical panel. No openings. They've cut off any obvious escape routes. Alara took a slow breath. Then we adapt. Humanity doesn't run from danger. Her voice carried calm authority, but inside her heart raced. She knew the legends of the Deathworlders. They were ruthless, precise, and almost unstoppable. Every human had grown up hearing stories of entire fleets destroyed by their advance. The first of the alien vessels fired a warning pulse. A silent shockwave rippled through space, and the Orion Vanguard's shields glowed under the immense pressure. It was a reminder these were not explorers. They were hunters, and humans had just entered their territory uninvited. Shields holding at 94%, Ryan reported. We can't sustain more hits of that magnitude. Alara nodded. Prepare defensive maneuvers. Engage thrusters and maintain distance from the planet. Keep them away from our engines and weapon systems. Even with superior alien firepower, humans had one advantage: unpredictability. The Deathworlders expected brute force, rigid formations, and predictable tactics. They did not expect improvisation, and humans were masters of improvisation. Captain, Kira said, pointing at the screens, I've been analyzing their fleet patterns. Their formations are rigid. They move like a single organism, coordinated but slow to respond to sudden changes. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Then we hit them where they are weak. Small strikes, fast movements. We'll force them to react instead of act. The Orion Vanguard was smaller than any single cruiser in the Armada, but it was fast and versatile. Using the planet's gravitational pull and the surrounding asteroid field, Ilara maneuvered her ship in ways the Deathworlders had not anticipated. The first skirmish began. Missiles streaked across space, dodged by the human crew with precise timing. Laser cannons lit the void, leaving trails of blue light as they skidded past massive alien hulls. The Orion Vanguard ducked and weaved, using its smaller size to avoid direct hits. Lieutenant Ryan's fingers moved faster than ever. Shields dropping. Hull integrity at 72%. Ilara did not panic. Fire decoy drones. Use the magnetic field near the asteroid belt to interfere with their targeting systems. A swarm of small human-made drones shot forward, mimicking the ship's size and energy signature. The Deathworlders fired upon the decoys, wasting precious ammunition, while the real Orion Vanguard slipped safely through the chaos. "This is working," Kira said, her hands steady as she controlled the ship's energy output. "Their formation is breaking. They're trying to adapt." But the humans were not out of danger. A massive Deathworlder destroyer turned sharply, moving directly toward the Orion Vanguard, its weapons charged with deadly energy, capable of slicing through any human vessel like paper. "Ilara, evasive maneuvers now," Ryan shouted. The ship shuddered as thrusters burned at maximum capacity. Ilara's voice was calm and commanding. "Prepare to deploy gravity anchors. We'll use the planet's pull to slow their approach." In a precise sequence, the ship released small gravity projectors, manipulating the planet's orbit slightly to create turbulence. The Deathworlder destroyer struggled against the unexpected forces. Its weapons misfired, hitting empty space. Humans had turned physics itself into a weapon. Kira let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. They didn't expect that. They can't adjust fast enough. Ilara allowed herself a small smile. "Good, keep pressing. We're showing them that humans are not easy prey." While the battle raged, the bridge crew worked with perfect coordination. Every human on board had a role. Tactical, shields, weapons, navigation. Fear was present, but it was controlled. Humanity thrived in chaos because they did not let panic dictate their actions. Suddenly, the communications panel flickered. A strange, static-laden signal appeared on the display. It was a human distress code, but modified. A warning for anyone who might intercept it. Ilara realized the implications immediately. "They're not here by accident," she said. "Someone or something knew we would send the SOS. They were waiting." Ryan's eyes widened. "Then this isn't a rescue mission anymore. They came for us. Or for what we know." Humans did not flinch. Instead, they prepared. The tactical computer displayed multiple vectors where the humans could strike. Each was risky, but the potential to disrupt the alien formation was high. Ilara made a quick decision. "Split the ship into 3 apparent targets. One will remain visible, the others hidden by asteroid cover. Let's confuse them." The ship executed the maneuver flawlessly. To the Deathworlders, it appeared as if 3 human ships had emerged from the shadows, each firing independently. The aliens hesitated, recalculating their attack. "Captain, the drones can now lead them into the asteroid field," Kira said. "If we time it right, their larger ships will collide with debris. They can survive, but they'll be slowed down." Ilara's lips pressed into a thin line. "Do it now!" The drone zipped forward, drawing the Deathworlders deeper into the asteroid belt. Lasers and energy pulses ricocheted against rock, sending smaller fragments scattering. The human ship used the chaos to dart behind cover, striking from angles the Deathworlders could not predict. Ryan grinned, tension momentarily lifting. "It's working. We're holding them off." But victory was not yet certain. A massive cruiser emerged from the edge of the battlefield, its size dwarfing everything else. Its weapons glowed with an intensity that made the bridge hum. Ilara knew the danger. "Prepare the emergency pulse cannons. Target its engines. We need it slowed, not destroyed, just enough to keep it from reaching us." The Orion Vanguard unleashed a calculated strike. Pulses of energy collided with the alien ship, slowing it, forcing it off its trajectory. The Deathworlders roared in unison, realizing the humans' audacity. Somewhere deep inside the Armada, Fleet Commander Tharok's eyes narrowed. Humans. Bold and unpredictable. Interesting, but we will break them. Back on the Orion Vanguard, the crew knew they had survived the first wave, but the battle was far from over. Their shields were weakened, the engines strained, and their ammunition limited. Yet their morale remained high. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and each victory, however small, reminded them of who they were. "Captain," Kira said quietly, "if we keep using ingenuity and speed, we can stay alive, but the Armada will adapt soon." Alara nodded. "Then we must be faster, smarter, and braver than ever. Humanity thrives in impossible situations. We will show them why they should never underestimate us." As the Orion vanguard weaved through the chaos, dodging beams and missiles, a thought struck Alara. The SOS, the signal that had brought them here, had also given the humans a chance. A chance to prove that intelligence, courage, and unity could face even the most terrifying enemy. And humans never gave up. The Orion vanguard drifted in the shadow of an asteroid field, battered but unbroken. Outside the viewport, the Deathworlder Armada hovered like a swarm of predators, massive ships moving with terrifying precision. The humans aboard the vessel had survived the initial assault, but Captain Alara knew that survival alone would not be enough. "We held them off," Lieutenant Rian said, wiping sweat from his brow. "But we can't keep dodging forever. They'll adapt." Alara's eyes scanned the tactical displays. "Then we fight smart. We don't have the numbers, but we have something else: creativity. Humanity survives by thinking differently." Kira Lin leaned over her console, her face glowing under the dim lights. "I've been analyzing their communication network. If we can jam it, even briefly, we can create confusion. Their ships rely on constant coordination. Without it, they become slower, easier to manage." Alara nodded. "Do it. Prepare everything we have. Timing will be critical." The crew worked with urgency. Humans were not just resilient. They were adaptable. In every corner of the Orion vanguard, scientists, engineers, and tactical officers coordinated, modifying equipment, rerouting power, and preparing the first phase of a counterattack. Outside, the Deathworlders continued their assault, firing energy beams and missiles. Each strike was calculated, precise, meant to intimidate, meant to kill. But the humans moved with agility, weaving through debris and using gravity fields to alter trajectories. Every near miss strengthened their resolve. "Captain, we're ready to deploy the jamming pulse," Kira said. "It will last 30 seconds at most, but it could give us the opening we need." "Do it," Alara ordered, her voice steady. "And make it count." A sudden wave of energy erupted from the ship, spreading outward like ripples in a pond. The Deathworlder ships faltered. Weapons misfired, communications garbled, and formations wavered. For a brief moment, the Armada was not an unstoppable force. It was disorganized, reacting without coordination. Rian's fingers flew across the tactical panel. "Now's our chance." Launch drones toward the largest cruisers. "Target engines and weapon arrays." Drones shot forward, small but packed with explosives and electronic interference devices. They zipped between the larger ships, dodging beams and missiles, and detonated precisely on impact. Explosions erupted in space, chunks of alien hulls drifting into the void. The humans cheered quietly, but Alara's mind stayed sharp. This was only a temporary advantage. The Armada would regroup, and the humans had limited resources. "Every decision counted, Captain," Kira said, pointing at a distant signal. "I'm picking up another movement, something large moving fast. It's not a battleship. It could be a command vessel." Alara's eyes narrowed. "If they are in charge, we need to keep them busy. Draw their attention away from the rest of the fleet." Ryan tapped his console. "We can use the asteroid field. They won't risk going in too deep. We can lure smaller ships into the trap while keeping the command vessel distracted." Alara nodded. "Exactly. Set the course and prepare the feint. Humanity doesn't back down, and we never underestimate what we can achieve with clever tactics." The plan unfolded with precision. The Orion vanguard moved boldly into open space, drawing the attention of smaller Deathworlder vessels. Meanwhile, drones and automated traps waited among the asteroids, ready to strike. When the alien ships followed, the humans activated the traps. Hidden mines exploded. Magnetic fields disrupted engine systems, and beams redirected the attackers into collisions with asteroids. One by one, the Deathworlder ships slowed, damaged and confused. Ryan's grin was infectious. "It's working." "They're taking losses and they don't know why." Alara allowed herself a brief smile. "This is only the beginning. We need to push further. Humans thrive under pressure. We use intelligence, not just weapons." Even as the humans celebrated small victories, they faced challenges. The Orion vanguard was strained. Shields flickered. Engines hummed under overload and every system was stretched to its limits. But the crew did not falter. Kira studied the enemy's patterns. They adapt slowly. They expect brute force but not ingenuity. We can use that. If we strike carefully, we can cripple them without facing total destruction. Alara nodded. Then we prepare the second phase. Focus on their engines and communication hubs. Confuse them completely. The humans launched a series of rapid attacks. Drones mimicked ship signatures, creating phantom targets. Laser pulses and small missile strikes hit precise points, while the Orion Vanguard moved unpredictably, weaving through the chaos. Each strike was a statement. Humans may be smaller, but they were not weak. From the Deathworlder command vessel, Fleet Commander Tharok observed the unfolding chaos. His expression darkened. These humans, clever, unpredictable, they do not fight like any other species we have faced. Back on the Orion Vanguard, the crew worked in perfect harmony. Even in the midst of danger, humanity's strength shone brightest when challenged. Every officer, every technician contributed to the battle effort, using their mind and skill to overcome raw power. Suddenly, a massive Deathworlder cruiser attempted a flanking maneuver. Its weapons locked onto the human ship, energy beams lancing through space. "Alara, direct hit," Ryan shouted. Alara remained calm. "Divert all power to shields and engines. Brace for impact but keep moving. Humans do not surrender." The ship shuddered violently as beams struck, but the shields held, absorbing most of the energy. The ship spun and accelerated, narrowly avoiding another barrage. "Now release the decoy swarm," Kira commanded. Hundreds of small drones spread outward, each mimicking the ship's energy signature. The Deathworlder ships fired on illusions, wasting ammunition and losing precious seconds. Humanity used those seconds to launch a counterstrike, targeting critical points in the enemy's formation. The battlefield became a dance of movement and strategy. Humans darted in, struck, and withdrew, using intelligence and speed to their advantage. Each successful strike sent a clear message. Humans were not simply prey. They were a force to be reckoned with. Hours passed, and the humans gained momentum. The Armada faltered under the constant disruption. Their once perfect formations were broken, engines damaged, and morale shaken. Humans had proven that ingenuity, courage, and adaptability could rival even overwhelming force. "Alara," Ryan said, leaning back in relief. "They're retreating, temporarily. They didn't expect this." Ilara's gaze remained fixed on the viewport. "This is only the beginning. They will come back." But humanity has shown them something important. We are not to be underestimated. We survive, we adapt, we fight. The crew of the Orion Vanguard breathed for the first time in hours. Though battered, tired, and strained, they were victorious in their own right. They had survived, and more than that, they had proven their ingenuity against a superior force. Kira smiled, exhausted but triumphant. "Humanity thrives under impossible odds, and they just proved it again." Ilara placed her hand on the console, staring into the dark expanse of space. "The Armada may regroup, but so will we. Humans are clever, brave, and united, and that is something no force in the galaxy can ignore." As the Orion Vanguard repaired its shields and prepared for the next engagement, the crew understood one fundamental truth. The SOS that had summoned this danger also gave humanity the chance to demonstrate its greatest strength. And they would not waste it. They would show the Deathworlders that humanity did not run, did not surrender, and never underestimated the power of a clever mind and a brave heart. The Orion Vanguard floated in the cold emptiness of space, its hull scarred from the earlier skirmishes. The crew moved through the ship with purpose, repairing shields, recalibrating weapons, and monitoring energy reserves. Though the immediate threat had been repelled, Captain Alara knew that the battle was far from over. "Captain," Kira said, her voice tense but steady. "I've been analyzing the SOS signal we sent. There's something unusual." Alara turned sharply. "Unusual how?" Kira pointed at her console, highlighting streams of data. It wasn't just a distress call. Hidden in the signal were encrypted coordinates. Coordinates to a research station that humanity has kept secret. The bridge went silent. Every crew member absorbed the implications. The SOS, meant to call for help, had revealed a human secret, advanced technology humanity had hidden from the galaxy. Ryan's eyes widened. "You're saying The Deathworlders didn't just respond to the SOS, they came for the station. Ilara's expression hardened. Exactly. They thought they were coming for a weak target. But we're not weak. And they are about to learn that intelligence, creativity, and courage are just as deadly as firepower. The tactical display flickered, showing the damaged Armada regrouping in the distance. Despite their losses, the Deathworlders were disciplined and relentless. Ilara knew they would attack again, more carefully this time. We need a plan, she said, and it has to be bold. We can't outgun them, but we can outthink them. Kira's fingers danced over her console. We can use the planet's anomalies, gravitational distortions, magnetic storms, and asteroid belts to our advantage. We can create a trap that will slow the Armada and protect the research station. Ilara nodded. Good, but we have to make it convincing. If they sense it's a trap, they'll avoid it. We need to lure them in. The crew worked tirelessly, modifying drones, setting up decoy signals, and preparing gravitational pulses. Every detail mattered. The humans had learned that even the smallest misstep could mean destruction against such a formidable enemy. Hours passed. The Deathworlders advanced, drawn by the SOS coordinates. Their fleet moved with caution this time, scanning for hidden threats, adjusting formations, and preparing to strike. But they did not anticipate humanity's ingenuity. Ilara, Kira said, pointing to the sensors. They're entering the gravitational field near the planet. Perfect. The trap is ready. Ilara took a deep breath. Initiate Phase 1. Begin the feint. The Orion Vanguard moved boldly into open space, appearing as a single vulnerable ship. Behind it, hidden drones and automated defenses waited among asteroids and magnetic anomalies. The humans had transformed the environment into a weapon. The Deathworlders advanced, cautious but confident. They fired a series of long-range beams, testing the human defenses. But the Orion Vanguard darted unpredictably, weaving through the shadows of asteroids. Beams struck the rocks instead of the ship, and drones created false targets, confusing the aliens further. Ryan's fingers moved rapidly. They're following the decoys. Engines are being pulled into gravitational turbulence. Ilara smiled. Good. Let's make them regret underestimating humans. Suddenly, the Deathworlders' command vessel moved closer, its weapons glowing with deadly intensity. It was the heart of their fleet, controlling their ships and issuing orders. Ilara knew that disabling it would be risky, but could turn the tide of the battle. Kira, can we jam their command signals again? Ilara asked. Kira nodded. Yes, but it will be brief. 30 seconds maximum. We have to make it count. Do it, Ilara ordered. A pulse of energy radiated from the Orion Vanguard, spreading through the fleet. Deathworlder ships faltered, engines misfired, and coordination broke down. The humans had bought precious seconds. Now release the intercept drones, Ryan shouted. Hundreds of drones shot forward, targeting the command vessel. Small explosions rocked its hull, damaging critical systems. The larger cruisers lost coordination, colliding slightly with one another or moving erratically. Ilara's eyes never left the main viewport. Keep pressure on. We hit their engines, disable their communication hubs, and force them deeper into the trap. Every move counts. The Deathworlders realized they were being outmaneuvered, but their pride and discipline made them press forward. They underestimated humans once, but the Orion Vanguard's crew refused to allow it twice. Captain, Kira said, we can trigger the gravitational pulse now. It will distort their trajectory and push them further into the asteroid field. We can minimize our losses while trapping a significant portion of the fleet. Ilara nodded. Do it. All hands, brace for impact. A powerful wave rippled through space, altering the course of the Deathworlder ships. They collided with debris, slowed by magnetic fields and forced into narrow channels between asteroids. Some took minor damage. Others were immobilized. The humans had turned the environment itself into a weapon, showing that clever thinking could rival raw power. Rian exhaled sharply. We did it. They're trapped. Ilara's face remained focused. We've gained the advantage, but the battle isn't over. Some will escape, and we need to protect the research station. That's the real prize. Kira analyzed the trapped ships. They'll try to regroup, but their communication is still disrupted. We can use this window to launch a strike on their remaining forces and keep them off balance. The crew coordinated their attacks carefully, using drones, missiles, and energy pulses to target key ships. Every strike was precise, aimed to damage but not destroy, keeping the trap effective. Humans were not reckless, they were calculating, using intelligence and strategy to their advantage. Hours passed as the battle continued, but the humans maintained control. The Deathworlder Armada, once an unstoppable force, was slowed, confused, and damaged. The crew of the Orion Vanguard knew they had to act decisively before the aliens adapted. "Ilara," Ryan said, pointing at the tactical display, "we can now strike at the command vessel directly. If we disable it, the rest of their fleet will fall into disarray completely." Ilara's gaze was sharp. "Then we strike. But we do it smartly. Precision, timing, and coordination. Humans don't waste effort. They make every move count." The Orion Vanguard moved boldly, drawing fire away from the drones that approached the command vessel. Kira guided them expertly, timing every pulse, every strike, every maneuver. The command vessel shuddered under the attacks, its systems failing one by one. Fleet Commander Tharok's voice echoed in the distance. "These humans, cunning and relentless, they do not fight like any other species. We must reconsider our strategy." Back on the Orion Vanguard, the crew pressed their advantage. Every officer, technician, and scientist worked in harmony. Fear had been replaced by determination, panic replaced by calculation. Humanity's greatest strength was not just bravery, it was the ability to act decisively and intelligently under pressure. Finally, the command vessel was disabled, its control over the Armada severed. The remaining Deathworlder ships faltered, some retreating, others immobilized. Humanity had turned the tide. The trap had worked. Ilara stood on the bridge watching the distant fleet. "This battle is not just about survival. It's about showing that humans are clever, resourceful, and united. We are not to be underestimated." The crew cheered quietly, pride and relief shining in their eyes. The SOS that had summoned the Deathworlders had revealed a secret, but it also gave humanity the chance to prove its strength. Kira smiled. "We turned their advantage into our own. Humans thrive under pressure, and they've just learned why." Ilara nodded. "We've won this phase, but the galaxy is watching now. Humanity has made its mark, and we will continue to fight to survive and to show that cleverness, courage, and unity are forces even the strongest cannot ignore." As the Orion Vanguard repaired its systems and prepared for the next move, one thing was clear. The SOS had been a call for help, but it had also become a test of humanity itself. And humans had passed with ingenuity, courage, and determination. The Deathworlders had come to claim what they thought was an easy prize, but they had underestimated humanity. And that would be a mistake they would never forget. The remnants of the Deathworlder Armada drifted in space, battered and disoriented. Though some ships still floated menacingly in the distance, their coordination was shattered. Captain Ilara stood on the bridge of the Orion Vanguard, her posture steady, her eyes sharp. Humanity had survived impossible odds, but the final challenge lay ahead, ensuring the safety of the research station and making sure the Armada could never regroup to threaten them again. "Kira, status report," Ilara said. Kira tapped rapidly at her console, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the screens. "We've successfully stabilized the planet's gravitational anomalies. The remaining Deathworlder ships are damaged and scattered. Their communication networks are down. We can strike again if necessary, but they are no longer an organized threat, for now." Ryan exhaled and leaned back, relief flooding his expression. "We did it. I can't believe we actually held them off." Ilara's eyes softened but remained determined. "This is only part of the story. Victory isn't just surviving. It's showing the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated." Even as the crew celebrated quietly, the Orion Vanguard moved carefully toward the research station hidden in orbit. The station contained humanity's most advanced technology, knowledge that had the potential to change the balance of power in the galaxy. The SOS that had triggered this battle also revealed the station's location, making it the ultimate prize. "Kira, we need a secure approach," Ilara said. "Prepare all defensive measures. We cannot risk a last-minute attack from any remaining ships." Kira nodded, her hands flying over the controls. Automated drones formed protective shields around the station. Magnetic pulses were set to repel any intruders, and gravity traps were calibrated to redirect potential attackers. Every precaution was taken. Humanity's foresight had saved them more than once during this ordeal. The research station came into view, gleaming with its domed shields and massive antenna arrays. Its presence was a symbol of human ingenuity and perseverance. a testament to their ability to reach farther and think smarter than any adversary. As the Orion Vanguard docked, the crew felt a wave of accomplishment. They had survived against overwhelming odds, had outsmarted one of the galaxy's most feared fleets, and had preserved humanity's greatest secrets. But Captain Alara knew the lessons of this battle extended far beyond survival. Humanity, she said quietly, addressing the bridge crew, doesn't rely on strength alone. We rely on intelligence, creativity, and courage. Today, we have proven that even when faced with a force that seems unbeatable, we will not falter. We adapt, we survive. We prevail, Kira smiled. And we've sent a message. Anyone observing this battle will know that humans are not easy to conquer. They will think twice before challenging us again. Ryan leaned against the console, exhaustion and pride in equal measure. We used everything we had. Brains, teamwork, bravery, and it worked. Humans really are something else. Alara nodded. Exactly. Other civilizations measure power by numbers or weapons. Humans measure it by resolve. We do not break under pressure. We do not surrender. That is our greatest strength. Even in the quiet aftermath, the crew remained vigilant. Sensors scanned the area for any remaining threats, and repair teams worked tirelessly to restore the ship to full capacity. Every human on board understood that while the immediate danger had passed, the galaxy would now see humanity in a new light. They'll remember this, Kira said, her voice soft. Not as a defeat, but as a warning. Humans are clever, adaptable, and unstoppable when united. Alara allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. She had always known that humans were special, that their combination of intellect, determination, and courage was unmatched. But facing the Deathworlders had proved it in the harshest way possible. Outside, the scattered remnants of the Armada began to retreat. Their ships limped away, battered and uncertain. Fleet Commander Tharok's voice, distorted by damaged communication channels, could be heard faintly in the background. Humans. Bold, unpredictable. This is not over. Alara did not flinch. Let them retreat. They now know what we are capable of. Humanity has survived, and they will think twice before returning. The Orion Vanguard's crew worked quickly to repair the last of the systems and secure the station. Supplies were replenished, shields strengthened, and drones returned to standby mode. Humanity had turned vulnerability into opportunity, danger into triumph. As the hours passed, the crew shared quiet celebrations. There were smiles, laughter, and stories of clever maneuvers and daring escapes. But underlying all of it was a deep sense of pride. They had faced what many believed was impossible and emerged victorious. Alara walked through the ship, visiting each station, offering words of encouragement, and acknowledging the tireless efforts of her crew. Every officer, technician, and scientist had played a critical role. Humanity's success was not about a single hero. It was about unity, intelligence, and courage combined. At the observation deck, Alara gazed out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before her, full of unknown dangers and endless possibilities. Humanity had faced one of its greatest tests and survived, sending a message to any who might doubt them. Ryan joined her quietly. Do you think they'll come back? He asked. Ilara's eyes remained on the distant stars. Perhaps. But next time we will be even more prepared. Humans learn fast, adapt quickly, and fight smarter. We don't just survive, we endure, we innovate, and we triumph. Kira approached, placing a hand gently on Alara's shoulder. We've changed the way the galaxy sees us. They will respect us, fear us, or both. Today, humanity's reputation has grown. Alara smiled faintly, and that's how it should be. Not through conquest or fear, but through proof that intelligence, courage, and unity are stronger than brute force. The Orion Vanguard continued to orbit the research station, repaired and ready for future missions. Humanity had survived the Armada, preserved its secrets, and proved that even against overwhelming odds they could succeed. The SOS that had summoned danger had also summoned an opportunity for humans to show what made them truly extraordinary. As the stars twinkled above, Captain Alara made a quiet promise to her crew and to humanity. They would continue to explore, to discover, and to thrive. And the galaxy would remember. Humanity endures, she said softly, almost to herself. And we will never be underestimated again. The crew of the Orion Vanguard knew this was more than survival. It was a victory for all of humanity. The SOS had summoned an armada, But it had also revealed the heart of a species, clever, brave, and united. A species that could face impossible odds and prevail. The galaxy had seen humanity's courage, and it had learned an important lesson. Humans do not surrender. Humans adapt. Humans endure, and when the odds seem impossible, humanity will always find a way to triumph. With the threat repelled and their mission complete, the Orion Vanguard set its course back to friendly space. The stars stretched endlessly, but humans now moved among them with confidence, proving that courage, ingenuity, and unity could stand against even the deadliest adversaries. For Captain Alara and her crew, the journey was far from over. But one thing was certain. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy not by seeking war, but by showing what it meant to survive, to think, and to fight with heart and mind together. And that was a legacy no armada could ever destroy.